Hi, welcome to the second annual Innovation Awards broadcast, Chill Out, Campus Solutions to Global Warming. Thanks for adding us to your activities leading up to Earth Day on April 22nd. I'm your host, Andrew Lee, a member of the Young Professionals Group for the National Wildlife Federation, an advisory group focused on helping the organization be more effective in reaching out to young adults. I was previously an NWF fellow with the Campus Ecology program, where I worked on water sustainability in the Southwest. Today, we're joined by students, faculty, and staff from over 240 colleges and universities, 15 high schools, 10 companies and organizations, and many individuals across the United States and abroad, including 44 states, Puerto Rico, American Samoa, Canada, China, India, Iran, and Syria. Thank you to all of those countries, and especially to everyone at the 70 colleges and universities that entered the Chill Out competition. With me today are Kurt Zwally, Global Warming Solutions Manager for the National Wildlife Federation, and Katrina Manigan, Global Warming Legislative Representative for the National Wildlife Federation. This competition and awards program would not be possible without our sponsors, climatecounts.org and Stonyfield Farm. We would also like to thank our presenting partners, the National Association of Campus Activities, the Earth Day Network, and our coalition partner, the Energy Action Coalition's Climate Challenge, Campus Climate Challenge, it's a mouthful, along with Candida Fund, and all the other wonderful promotional partners highlighted on the Chill Out website. So today's program is going to be very exciting and continues our tradition of recognizing and celebrating innovative solutions to global warming on our nation's campuses. So these are inspirational examples today where you'll learn, and it'll also illustrate how you can dramatically reduce the use of fossil fuels and reduce human impact on the climate. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that today is one of those days where we not only celebrate those innovative solutions, but we also recognize that we have a moral responsibility to lead, especially in the United States, where we have only about 5% of the world's population, but we use, unfortunately, 25% of the world's energy resources. Our colleges and universities are amongst the wealthiest in the world and are recognizing more and more that our higher education institutions bear a profound responsibility to lead. Our national decision makers are taking notice, thanks in part to the broad national campus and youth initiatives such as PowerShift this past fall, Focus of the Nation in January, the Chill Out Awards program each spring, and the President's Climate Commitment signed by more than 500 college and university presidents all across the country. Senator Barbara Boxer, for example, has been a stalwart leader in supporting solutions to global warming, and we are proud to bring you this message from her.
I am so pleased to welcome you to the National Chill Out Awards program, recognizing colleges and universities for their creative efforts to address global warming and protect wildlife habitat. Congratulations to all of this year's competition winners, including Butte College, Cascadia Community College, the University of Missouri, the University of Montana, and the Berkshire School. The work you do sets an inspiring example for all of us. You are demonstrating every day that the United States can dramatically cut global warming pollution right now by increasing energy efficiency and using more renewable energy. The fight against global warming will create a new green revolution, I think an economic renaissance, and our school campuses are leading the way. Your work is giving momentum to my efforts in Washington. The Climate Security Act was passed out of the Senate Environment Committee in December, and it is heading to the Senate floor on June 2nd. This bill provides billions of dollars for investment in clean energy technology, and it will result in a new generation of green jobs. This investment, coupled with a cap-and-trade system, will lead to American innovation, will make the United States the global warming leader at last. So congratulations to all of today's winners, and thanks for everything you're doing to step up to the challenge of global warming.
Thank you, Senator Boxer, for your encouraging words of support for global warming solutions on campus, as well as for bold leadership and action in Congress. So Senator Boxer talks about strong legislation to curb global warming. What does the science say about averting this climate crisis? Katrina?
You know, the scientists tell us that we have to keep global temperatures from rising more than 2 degrees Fahrenheit more than they already have risen from today. And to do that, we need to keep global concentrations of greenhouse gases to less than 450 parts per million in the atmosphere. Now, the U.S. responsibility for that global that global need to reduce our global warming pollution is that we need to cut our global warming pollution about 80% by 2050. And that translates into about a 2% reduction in United States global warming pollution every year.
So 2% every year, it leads to about an 80% reduction. It sounds easy, is it?
Well, 2% a year is something that's very doable, but it is going to require a transformation in how we use energy and where we get energy from. The majority of our global warming pollution as a country comes from the burning of fossil fuels to supply us with electricity, to supply us with gasoline for our cars. And we're going to really need to transform where we get that energy from and how we use it. And in order to drive that transformation, we need leadership from campuses, like we're going to illustrate here today. We need federal legislation that mandates that our global warming pollution go down and puts a price on that pollution so that we have a market signal driving this transformation in our energy future. And it's a really a doable thing to reduce our pollution by 2% each year.
That makes a lot of sense. So it seems that the challenge and the mandate is clear, but a question still kind of remains for me. So why would an organization like the National Wildlife Federation, that's been focused on wildlife for a fairly long time, why is it focusing now on global warming? Kurt, can you answer that?
Yeah, a lot of people sometimes have that question, but the truth is global warming is the single biggest threat to wildlife today, whether it's declining snowpack in the Rockies, decreasing stream flows and threatening trout habitat, to rising sea levels threatening coastal habitats and the places for migratory birds to breed, things like the ducks and things that breed in the Chesapeake Bay area, to things that are more far off that people see in the news, like the polar bear and the declining summer ice in the Arctic region. These are things that our members, people that like to hunt and fish, but also people that just enjoy the outdoors, being part of nature through hiking or birding and things like that. People are seeing these changes, whether it's in their backyard with the spring coming earlier and the birds not quite being in sync anymore with the food and the native habitat.
Wait, so Kurt, you're telling me that I'm seeing the impacts of global warming in my own backyard?
Well, I don't know if you are, but a lot of people are. A lot of our members are. And I see it. Sometimes I don't see things and somebody says, you know, wow, that's why the birds are doing that. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. So there are things that I miss too. Right. So, but yeah, our members are increasingly seeing this more and more, and they're very concerned about it. And the other thing they're concerned about is making sure that the solutions that Katrina talked about actually provide funding to help wildlife survive global warming. So it's not just a solution for the pollution, we also need a solution to help the wildlife survive.
Okay. So. That makes sense. So the stakes are, I think, clear. They're high for people, and in addition to that, they're also very high for wildlife, especially. And I think that's the reason why today we're showing you campus leadership. To avert the climate crisis, it's so important. I recently read in a new report, The Business Case for Climate Leadership on Campus, that colleges and universities, they spend about $1 billion for new construction annually, about $20 billion a year on facilities and utilities, and that they spend more than, get this, $370 billion on goods and services annually. So Dr. Anthony Cortese, the founder of Second Nature, he says that basically in this report that all of these campuses and universities, they spend more than, basically, they have a combined GDP of more than 20 nations put together. So that's a very large carbon footprint, and that's a very, very big deal. The reason for colleges and university leadership, we think, in solving global warming is many. This is why we think it is so important to showcase the solutions in this next hour. We'll announce the winners first of this year's competition, as well as the runners-up, and then we'll also see those fantastic YouTube videos. And then stay tuned for an inspirational message from another special guest, an interactive panel discussion with our campus leaders, and lastly, some information about a pledge you, that's right, you in the audience, can take online after this program. And as you have questions, I implore you, please send those to chillout@nwf.org. And we'll ask our panelists these exact questions. And now, here's what you've all been waiting for. This year's Chill Out competition winners. We can't address global warming enough, but global warming can't be addressed without touching upon energy, and energy necessarily means that we should also talk about buildings. Buildings represent more than 80% or more of campus energy consumption, and their direct greenhouse gas emissions. So one big question campus leaders often ask us is how can we reduce our energy consumption while we increase space for a growing student population? Well, the University of Missouri, that's right, the great Mizzou, illustrates how this can be done, and they have big goals for continuing to reduce their energy use. This is why we're proud to announce the University of Missouri as a national Chill Out competition winner.
I am Jason Fox, a junior at the University of Missouri-Columbia and president of the Student Energy Conservation Society. Since 1990, our Energy Management Department has been actively engaged in a formal energy conservation program. This program uses student interns along with energy management personnel to perform energy audits at various buildings throughout our campus. These energy audits identify energy cost-saving opportunities and have helped to decrease the emissions of our university by over 96,000 tons.
We have a lot of good things going on in campus facilities. One area I'm particularly proud of is energy management. The services they provide are extremely reliable, and they are recognized nationally by their peers as being one of the very best. But what I most appreciate about the folks in energy management is that they never accept the status quo. They're always looking for ways to do a better job, and that's a very good thing for Mizzou.
Energy management staff identified the Dalton Research Center as an excellent candidate for energy reduction. We performed an energy audit and analysis that revealed significant savings were possible by upgrading the heating, cooling, and laboratory fume hood systems. These upgrades were implemented, and the savings far surpassed our expectations. Energy costs at Dalton were reduced by 46%, saving MU $276,000 a year.
The MU power plant utilizes combined heat and power to serve the campus energy needs. This process produces steam to simultaneously provide energy for heating and cooling campus buildings and electricity to meet the campus needs. Combined heat and power nearly doubles the efficiency of MU's power plant compared to conventional power plants, saving MU millions of dollars every year.
Energy management takes a proactive approach to minimize emissions. While conventional power plants waste heat, the use of combined heat and power at the MU power plant nearly doubles its production efficiency, cutting air emissions in half. We further reduce emissions by lowering campus energy use through energy conservation. This reduction is equivalent to removing over 85,000 cars from the highway, or planting over 130,000 acres of trees.
Thank you, University of Missouri. As they've illustrated, we can't avoid addressing energy use as we tackle global warming. We can't avoid taking transportation either. Will Tour, a Boulder County Commissioner, and he's an author of Sustainable Transportation on Campus, has said that transportation on campuses is, to the new millennium, what recycling was to the 1990s. Although thousands of college and university staff, faculty, and students, they often commute to and from campuses each day, commuting is considered part of the sort of campus indirect carbon footprint. So that means every single time that you're sitting in traffic, you're contributing to that indirect carbon footprint. The bottom line, although they may pay to build expensive parking lots, campuses don't foot the gas bill for most commuters. That means that this is another reason why commuting has often escaped the attention when we reduce a campus's carbon footprint. It hasn't escaped the attention at the University of Montana, though. a winner of this year's National Chill Out competition, where green transportation is a high priority.
The university was one of the charter signatories to the President's commitment on climate change, and that really represented just the first step. I think the total campus has been involved in this kind of an effort for years. This is just an opportunity then to make a contribution to what is the most significant political or environmental or social issue of our time.
There's quite a few things that students at the university are doing to combat furthering global warming. They realize that one of the biggest ways that they can actually impact the furthering of climate change is by reducing their own footprint themselves. Doing small things, replacing the light bulbs in their homes, turning off lights, riding their bike to school, using alternative forms of transportation. So students on campus realize that this is an issue and are taking steps more or less to further those causes, whether in their personal lives or supporting causes such as ASUM Transportation.
The mission of ASUM Transportation is to promote and provide transportation options to the university community. It started in 1999 when there was a transportation task force on the university, and students realized that it was an important effort and put a fee on themselves to begin to promote and provide transportation options.
Understanding that the economic shortfalls, understanding the environmental shortfalls of kind of a depletion of our natural resources, it's incredibly important to find ways to kind of mitigate that. And understanding the concept of using creative solutions in order to do that is a fascinating concept to me. ASUM Transportation is probably one of the best ways that I've seen of a physical implementation of students getting together and saying that this is in fact something that we want to find solutions to.
We started with several different programs. We have a student transportation board that gives direction to this office. Our first program was the Cruiser Co-op that was developed in 2000. That's been an extremely popular program and has been copied by numerous other universities around the country. We have 50 bikes that are checked out for up to 2 days for free to students. We run 4 buses at this point. It started out with just one little van, but we're up to 4 buses from different locations around town. We project to give about 300,000 rides on that system this year. We have all sorts of orientation programs. We work with an outreach coordinator so that we actually get students to leave their car at home and not even bring it to the university. We have no-interest bike loans. We've worked on bike parking, bike education. We have bike ambassadors. We have about 42% of the university community comes to campus by another way than driving alone.
Being able to go to other places and say, look, in fact, we started the student-run transportation system. Not only are we providing rides, which has been incredibly successful, but we're also providing opportunities and advocacy to show people that, driving a car isn't the only way to get to campus, and it has been effective.
I think this is the kind of success we have here. The incremental beginning is what will allow us to move on to the next things, which is become climate neutral as soon as possible.
Who would have thought the University of Montana has shown us that greener transportation, that means, yes, free rides around the campus, is a great way to decrease energy use. Amazing. I would have loved a free bike loan. But as we've seen, though, this is a cornerstone for a sustainable future, definitely dealing with transportation. I think similarly, though, the role of restoring habitat and green spaces and helping to solve global warming is one that isn't usually at the top of people's tongues when they talk about how to basically solve global warming. Many people know about the important role of healthy habitats. We all know about hiking and going out and using those healthy habitats and about protecting water quality and wildlife. But this is only the beginning, because I think we're only about to learn how important a role habitat is in slowing global warming. This is one of the reasons why Cascadia Community College and University of Washington Bothel's project, Washington, is so important. They are helping illustrate how habitat restoration, and in addition to that, green space and sensible land use, can be key strategies for confronting global warming. So we're proud that our judging panel selected Cascadia Community College and University of Washington Bothell as a Chill Out competition winner this year.
About this co-located campus from the beginning. The organization, the state community college system, the university system in the state of Washington looked at the location of the campus and recognized an opportunity for us to do something with the wetlands that fronted our campus that had not been done anywhere else in the state of Washington. And that effort included recreating a wetlands environment that probably existed here on the east side of Seattle, Washington 300 years ago.
The beautiful thing about having this restored wetlands is we can use it both as an educational venue and a research venue. So we have students doing research out there, we have faculty out there doing research, and of course we have many classes that go and study what's going on in our environment firsthand, so they can walk 100 yards and really get involved in one of the very best wetlands restorations in the country.
When it comes to climate leadership, land use decisions on campuses are often eclipsed by building and energy uses. However, land use decisions are an important part of addressing climate change on campuses and beyond.
We need wetlands because wetlands are they are the areas that are lower in the land where water accumulates, and that water has an opportunity to percolate, go down through the soil. And when it does that, it has an opportunity to get purified. So various chemicals that get into our water from all of our driving that we do, or construction, oil dripping onto our roads, gets washed down to the lowest point. And that's toxic to us if it gets into our water. It's toxic to salmon. It's toxic to a lot of living creatures. What we've done so much of is allowing our water to just shoot by. And so you see these streams where they're just rushing, all this water rushing. Here, the water has some time to slow down and interact with the soil, interact with the plants. Some of the plants take up some of the toxins themselves. Because of their interactions of slowing everything down, there's enough time for the water to get purified. So that's the biggest function that's really critical to human health and for really wildlife health in general.
One of the things that we're really interested in is certainly with climate change is the volume of the stream and the amount of water that's being carried through the stream at different times. So today we have some students that are out conducting various measurements.
What we're doing is promoting habitat, wildlife, plant life. We're not out there to beautify, we're out there to maintain. We're out there to, protect whatever is established in our site.
It's amazing to see every year from the building the amount of vegetation and how large and, vigorous the growth is. And every year we look out there and try to predict, how much longer is it going to be till the freeway is obscured.
In today's world, being green, recognizing the opportunities we have to change the way we utilize natural resources to preserve our environments for our future generations, for our children and grandchildren, set the stage for institutions of higher ed to be those leaders.
Thank you. Cascadia Community College, you're really, really cool. I mean, students going out there in galoshes and having that as a class credit, I would have loved to do that. I think Cascadia Community College has shown us that solving global warming includes not only energy, but also goes well beyond that to include things like land use decisions and habitat restoration. So solving global warming seems to require innovation and thinking outside the box. It seems that it's that type of thinking that we really need to go and tackle global warming. The Berkshire School has found a creative way to make global warming tangible for students and make it a fun part of a student's daily life.
We needed a way in which we'd be able to continue reducing electricity among our students on a monthly-to-month basis. So we had this idea that maybe by having certain standards in which if a student or if a dormitory is able to stay under these standards for electricity use, they were able to get some sort of a reward for it, an incentive.
The reason it has become and continue to be a core value of the school is because kids believe in it and take ownership of it.
I started off talking with people and writing up a proposal for the teacher-led conservation committee to get passed through the budget so that we could create the emissions trading scheme.
We stayed under our threshold, so we have $200 now to spend on whatever we want, whether it be a new energy efficient microwave or a a new TV, whatever we want. And if we keep it under the threshold, we'll continue at the end of April to have $100 more.
The main thing is behavioral, to get people to change the way they act and the way they think. And I think the emissions trading scheme ties into just that, where you're having people actually think, why should I turn off the lights? Why should I take a shorter shower? And if you can get more people to think like that, it's going the right way.
I feel the emissions trading scheme definitely helped put us over the edge into first place, because the margins were so small between us and the other schools behind us in the Green Cup Challenge. And because it created an atmosphere on campus of actually participating in an event as opposed to our school is winning an event, it was more like individual people could help make a difference just within the school, which ultimately led to a collaborative win for the school in the Green Cup Challenge.
I think a lot of people want to do their part, but they don't really know how, and so that's part of our goal, is to just tell them basic reasons, basic things they can do to conserve energy and to reduce climate change.
We're doing a very noble thing, educating a generation to be better than we were. From my perspective, there is no choice but to commit to it fully, which is why we have a perhaps even heightened commitment at this particular time in the school's history to being a leader among secondary schools in this area.
Great job, Berkshire School. Fierce? Definitely. So certainly capping and trading carbon emissions is one of the most advanced approaches to averting global warming, and these lucky high school students are right at taking that novel approach. And I think that's something that's very key. We've seen so far people tackling energy in terms of buildings, we've seen people tackling in transportation, we've seen habitat restoration, and we've seen innovative solutions. So I know that suspense is now building, and as we lead up to that grand prize winner of this year's annual competition, but first, a word from one of the nation's leaders in solving global warming. Gary Hirshberg, he's the CEO of Stonyfield Farm. Stonyfield Farm is a yogurt organic farming CEO. Get it? Okay. And in helping corporate America reduce its carbon footprint through the program climatecounts.org. As he'll explain, Climate Counts scores companies annually on the basis of their action to reverse climate change. And to find out which of your favorite companies are taking action to prevent climate change, visit climatecounts.org. Let's listen to Gary.
Hi, I'm Gary Hirshberg, CEO of Stonyfield Farm Yogurt and the founding chairman of Climate Counts. I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the country and around the world to talk to students like you about Climate Counts, because students have always been at the center of significant social change on our planet. Students got together on campuses decades ago to tell corporations who were doing business with the racist regimes of South Africa and Rhodesia that doing business there was not okay. Today, right now, is your moment. Climate is the anti-apartheid opportunity of the 21st century. This is your opportunity to make as significant a change as those students did back then. So I challenge you, use the power of your voice, use the power of your vote when you consciously consume to make a difference. Telegraph a message to corporations that being part of the solution to climate is their business, that it is important to you. Telegraph messages through your emails, through text messaging, that climate is a priority, that it must become their priority. I commend you, I'm inspired by you, and we need you. Thank you for your efforts today, and good luck to us all.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That was Gary, the CEO of Stonyfield Farm. Thank you very much for his inspiring message and what he's doing to fight global warming. And remember, if you want to go and check up on those businesses, go to climatecounts.org. And both Stonyfield Farm and climatecounts.org, we're proud to have them as two of Chill Out's main sponsors. Stonyfield Farm and Climate Counts, they both illustrate how important it is to set goals for reducing carbon dioxide and to develop a plan to meet that goal. In this vein, no campus in the United States has set a more ambitious target than Butte College, or accomplished more to achieve it. I'm very proud to announce Butte College as the grand prize winner of this year's Chill Out competition.
Andrew Plug, president of Butte College, and we are thrilled to be accepting this honor from the National Wildlife Federation as national leaders in sustainability. Our goal is to be carbon neutral by 2015, and I know that's ambitious, but I think we can do it.
Butte College has been a leader in sustainability since the main campus opened in the 1970s. We've made modeling sustainability one of our 5 strategic initiatives. And as a result, the whole effort and energy of the college is focusing on sustainability. We've set a goal of achieving carbon neutrality by 2015. That's a very ambitious goal.
Fall of 2006, we put together a Butte College Sustainability Steering Committee to create not only a culture of sustainability on campus, but also to create practices and to model within our buildings and our purchasing and our courses to model sustainable practices.
Well, the Phase 1 solar array is 901 kilowatts AC, and it generates about 28% of the electricity that campus uses. It's a huge benefit, and we want to do Phase 2 and 3 and essentially getting off the grid. We think we're going to be successful to where we can launch that in the next 1 to 2 years.
We're in the midst of a major construction program, and we have done everything we can to make the new buildings as energy efficient as we can make them. They all exceed Title 24 standards. That's the California standard for energy efficiency. We're certifying our new and existing buildings to the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design standard through the U.S. Green Building Council. Butte College operates the largest community college transportation system in California. We keep about 1,000 cars off the road every day.
Last year, I wrote the first sustainability class here at Butte College called Our Sustainable Future in the Sociology Department. I was with faculty at our curriculum committee, and we had 5 classes pushed through, sustainable classes. In January, I'm going to be submitting an entire degree program proposal to the Chancellor's Office for a degree and a certificate program in sustainability studies.
The Butte College Associated students have chosen to adopt a model of sustainability in everything we do. And in working towards that, we chose to start a Sustainability Resource Center on campus. We also put on events on campus such as Earth Day and our Energy Awareness Fair. We also sent representatives to the Environmental Law Conference in Eugene, Oregon.
We believe as an educational institution, we have a responsibility to ensure that our students understand about concepts of sustainability.
Way to go, Butte College. It's particularly outstanding that Butte aims for a zero energy footprint by 2015. Man, if that weren't enough, they plan to achieve the goal without relying on any carbon offsets. I think that's an example for all of us. So this year's Chill Out competition was really stiff, and when we asked our panel of judges to select the top winners in each of these categories, it was a really difficult decision. The selection process was rigorous, and we thank each and every entrant to the competition. So your leadership and work on campus is inspiring to all of us, whether you're a winner or you're not. We like to recognize the runners-up from these outstanding campuses. Each runner-up receives a small cash award and other prizes. First up is the College of Menominee Nation. President Verna Fowler signed on as a Leadership Circle member of the American College and University President Climate Commitment. To help implement this commitment, they are requiring all students to take an introductory course to sustainable development and are collaborating with the North Central Regional Center for Rural Development, and they're developing a set of campus sustainability indicators that will be transferable for about 36 tribal colleges across the country. Next up is the Massachusetts College of Art. Students and staff have built a green roof to help mediate building temperatures against extreme levels of heat and cold while using local native plants instead of the traditional mountain sedums. Now, another major goal of this particular garden is also to mitigate stormwater runoff. I'd like one of those in my own house, if only that's possible. Students and staff, though, at our next winner is, and faculty at the administration of the University of California, UC Santa Cruz, are working to lower the campus carbon footprint and promote sustainable lifestyles. This campus basically purchases 100% renewable energy thanks to a student fee passed in 2006. And this energy produced with the UC Santa Cruz purchase of renewable energy is enough to abate approximately about 30,000 tons of CO2 per year. Now, the University of Oregon's campus recycling program is really something stellar. It was started through a grassroots environmental initiative from students in 1990, and it's grown to be a national model of waste reduction and student involvement. The program has over 1,500 recycling sites, collecting over 200 different items, and maintains, get this, 48% waste diversion rate, reducing enough CO2 to keep 14,000 cars off the road annually. That's really, I mean, 48%, come on, people, that's amazing. Our next college is the Warren Wilson College of North Carolina. Their mission states that a commitment to environmental responsibility is extremely important, and Warren Wilson exemplifies that. So every single year, they conduct a greenhouse gas inventory since 2003, and then they also maintain a task force to set and meet target goals for reducing emissions. And they've reduced total emissions by 47%. I'd like to congratulate every single one of this year's winners, runners-up, and all the entries in the National Chill Out competition. All these projects submitted show great leadership, and we thank and congratulate you all. Thank you so much for providing so much to the ongoing battle against global warming. I'm really proud to say today that on this stage, we have Dr. William Christopher, president of Cascadia Community College, Dustin Leffridge, president of ASU MOT at the University of Montana, Missoula, Jason Fox, a student and president of the Student Energy Conservation Society from the University of Missouri, Kelly Munson, advisor to Associated Students and Student Activities from Butte College, and Joe Cohen, a student from the Berkshire School, along with my colleagues here, Kurt Zwally and Katrina Manigan. So let's give our panelists first another round of applause, and the winning campuses a round of applause for all their leadership. Great job. So I encourage, again, we've received questions from the national audience, and if you have a question, email us again at chillout@nwf.org, and we'll get to as many as we can. So I've got a couple questions here. So the first one is actually from Spike from Montana State University Northern, and this is to Kurt. So this is a good question. Let's start this out with some spice. So why is America, spice, yes, why is America the only country to have individuals, government agencies, and corporations denying the fact that global warming is real?
That's a good question. I don't know if the United States is the only country where there's global warming skeptics. I think there's a few other places around the world. But and it's hard for me to say, or anyone to say, why people deny the science of global warming. Some people say it's a lot like tobacco companies and undermining the science of smoking causing cancer. I like to focus more on the consensus moving ahead, the strong scientific foundation, recognition, Nobel Peace Prize given to the IPCC, and also even President Bush just today, he set a goal for reducing CO2. We'll see if it really does anything, but.
Okay. Well, let's go and turn over some questions to our panelists. So to Butte College first, this is from Rebecca from Chicago, Illinois, and she says, congrats on the grand prize, great job. And what are you most proud of that's going on at your campus, and what's one thing you would like to see on other campuses?
Wow. I think first and foremost, it's been the collaborative nature of everyone on our campus, from our president and the administration to the faculty to facilities to the students and the staff. Everybody seems to be working really well together. And the way our steering committee is set up is we have 4 co-chairs, one from facilities, one from curriculum, one from student programming, and one from community outreach. And together, we set the goals for the year. We work together in tandem, so we're approaching things in an institutional manner.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I'd like other schools to know is that I think community colleges often take the backstage to major universities who focus on research and things like that. And I think that our career and technology educational programs are really going to take the lead in the next decade, training the Green Jobs Corps and solar tech training, energy tech training, green building and construction management, and also training sustainability coordinators from organizations around the world. So I think we're going to play a real leading role in training the next generation.
So that's fascinating. So you're basically saying that, you know, in terms of that collaborative atmosphere, it's really both the administration and the students and a lot of people working together. Now, was that the same case in the University of Montana?
It is. At the University of Montana, the sustainability effort is led through a collaboration of administrators, faculty, staff, and students who get together to review and assist and make recommendations to the president of the university in regards to what we see as the vision for sustainability on the University of Montana campus. And it has worked out quite well. It's been around for quite a while, and the collaborative effort is something that is incredibly important to ensuring our success.
So that's kind of amazing. Really, a lot of this change that we've seen on some of these campuses and universities has not been due to, take for example, someone burning a sofa in the middle of the quad, but really it's due to collaboration, a lot of working together, trying to solve a mutual problem. Great. All right, so the next question is to the Berkshire School. So this is from Bradley from Denver, Colorado. Bradley asks, you know, it's really impressive how involved students were both in the CLIP and especially at Berkshire. What makes the students so involved, and what would you recommend for other schools? How would we be able to increase student involvement? What do you think really worked and what didn't work?
Well, what works great at Berkshire is we're backed up right to Mount Everett, the second highest mountain in Massachusetts, where students can see the outdoors, see what kind of effect global warming is having, and see what they would lose if going down the road we don't act. And so getting students out to see the outdoors and to see nature really has them think about it, and they can start making the change to combat global warming.
So it's really providing a local impact and really making students feel like, you know, there's a buy-in there.
Yeah.
That what you do has a significant impact on what's going on. And we've talked about that before, especially with your backyard being part of that part of the wildlife. Okay, so the next question we have is for the University of Missouri, Mizzou. So this is Jason from Oak Creek, Wisconsin. So Jason asks, your video mentioned energy management. Do you have sub-metered buildings, and what would you recommend in terms of for a campus that doesn't have a sub-meter? What are the ways that that students are able to go and basically measure energy management?
I would say the ways for students to measure energy management, if the buildings aren't already sub-metered, would be just at looking at the way the building is. Look at the building at night. See if there are lights on in offices and nobody's in them. If you see that going on in your building, I mean, most campus buildings are open at night. If you want to, take the initiative, go in there and turn off the lights. Just by doing a small thing like that, you can set a big example for everyone else at the campus.
So, and just to make sure, does Mizzou have sub-meters?
Yes, I think we've sub-metered over 600 buildings on campus, about 6,000 miles of.
And was that really difficult? Was that something that was started at the beginning, or?
It has been going on since 1990, and I know there has been some difficulties as Mizzou has been expanding outward and building more energy-intensive research centers at the perimeters of our campus. Now we're looking to build back inward so that we don't have to run lines and water all the way out to these far distances.
Okay, great. So the next question that we have is for Cascadia Community College. This is from Cynthia at the University of Central Florida. She asks, how much maintenance is your restoration project taking? How are students helping in the long term?
That's a real interesting question, and it's always on our mind. We're a young campus. Originally, the plan by the state was to co-locate Cascadia and the UW-Bothell together, which was done, on a brand new campus. The campus was built in 2000, started in 2000, and that's when we opened the doors. One of the things that was part of that was the restoration of these wetlands. What we did, 58 acres out of 128-acre total campus, all of the non-native vegetation was completely stripped from the base. About 100 years ago or so, the meandering creek was straightened, and it was actually used as a logging slough. It was diked, tile drains were put in, and when the logs ran out, it was used as pasture land. So we created this restored wetlands, and we were able then to change the creek channel. It's now a meandering creek. It's now planted with native vegetation. Right now it's willows and alders, but the evergreen substory will come through probably in about 5 to 7 more years. We've got a beaver dam. The salmon are moving through it. We monitor it all the time, and it costs us, in terms of monitoring and maintenance, probably $250,000 a year. So it's an expensive proposition. Now, we've been, for the first 7 years of this monitoring, we've been doing it with a third party, as agreed to with the Army Corps of Engineers and the State Department of Ecology. We are now beginning to take that monitoring over ourselves, and we'll be using our students and our classes, both at the university and the community college. The partnership is wonderful, because we complement each other in the levels and the types of classes we offer in the environmental sciences. So we're confident that we'll be able to continue that monitoring. So we also plan to continue to build it out as well.
Right. So you're using that now also as integrating as part of your curriculum, so that students have sort of taking a long-term view as well.
And that is a long-term view. In fact, we are now in the pre-design stage for a net zero energy use interpretive center that would overlook the wetlands and connect to 100 miles of bicycle trails, paved trails, throughout the Seattle metro area.
Right.
If we can get that done, we will be a focus, a destination site for the community.
Right. So I have a question for the whole panel here. This is from Sadie from Marquette University. She asked, now, for the whole panel, just chime in, do you have any suggestions for students, student groups who want to see change, but university administrations seem to have little interest in sustainability? We've talked about collaborative working together, but what do you suggest students should do? Should we burn couches? What should we do? What should students do if the administration doesn't want to go ahead and dedicate substantial amount of time?
Well, I think for the University of Montana, ASUM Transportation is a completely student-run organization. It started as a fee that was levied upon the students by themselves, and has been incredibly effective as a student-run organization to better advocate for community design, transportation options, and really being able to assist the status quo, sometimes those administrators who don't necessarily buy into what you may be thinking or what the student will may be at the time, to really let them understand that what the collective will of the students is actually something that should be happening. So for the University of Montana, we were really able to push that parking probably isn't the best option, and it has grown into a large organization. Students really have the will, they have the innovation, they have the motivation, and a lot of times if the students take it upon themselves in order to push for a lot of these things, then the administration and other participants become very willing to help out and to eventually become collaborative partners.
So that's really interesting. It seems that you've also made a business case to the administration about doing something in terms of curbing global warming. Did you see that in any of your other cases as well? Really being able to sort of sell it and say, like, look, the administration should do this because it'll save money as well.
I think at the University of Missouri, we've been involved with an energy conservation program for 18 years now because energy efficiency saves money, and our university has realized that. If you are in a situation where you don't feel that your university administration is responding well, I think you just have to keep persevering through it. If there's one thing history shows us, it's that students have the most power at universities and colleges. It's not the administration.
And I just wanted to add for students to get involved, get yourself a seat at the table. There's lots of different committees on campus. There's generally on most campuses a real welcoming attitude for students to be involved. So join a committee, get involved in student government, through clubs, get a seat at the table so when the questions come up, you get a chance to answer them.
Okay, great.
Andrew,
So, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to mention that college and university administrations, the important role that they play is supporting this, because to make it happen, it's the faculty and the students and partnerships with the community, and it's the support and the acknowledgement that this is an important part of the college or university's mission and vision and core values that really sets the stage for everything else to take place after that.
Okay.
I sit back, and the other people do the great work.
That's good to hear. So I have another question from Rachel from Santa Fe Community College. This is to Katrina. What do you say to people who say global warming doesn't exist?
The science on global warming is really just irrefutable at this point. There have been, the 4 versions of a large international study with all the scientists around the world coming together and writing one report together about what the consensus is on global warming. And they say that it is irrefutably that it's happening, and that the impacts are going to be really dire if we don't actually start acting soon. So I think the debate has moved beyond the science. And I mean, there will always be a few people for whom it's convenient to say that the science doesn't really, isn't really there. But I don't think that, there really aren't scientists out there saying that anymore. There's folks that would just rather avoid the work of solving the problem. So, we'd really.
Well, on that note, we have a question from the audience. State your name, sir, and what your question is.
And I'm an undergraduate student at the George Washington University. I first want to commend you on all the work that you've done on your campuses. However, the George Washington University is very much an urban campus, and I was wondering any advice that you had for changing the atmosphere, even though we are very much immersed in the city.
Well, the Cascadia Community College and the University of Washington Bothell, we're not in the middle of downtown Seattle, but we're certainly in an urban area as well. We're very fortunate to have the wetlands on our campus. But I think it's a matter of looking around and how can you make some changes within the university that will make a difference. We had some areas where there's some wild blackberries growing. I don't know if you've got any spots like that in the urban area, but we brought in goats. A herd of 60 goats from a company called Rent-A-Ruminant. So
Rent-A-Ruminant.
Yes.
I'll be using that fairly soon.
So, I mean, are there some things in terms of recycling? All of our benches on the campus, all of our bike racks are made from recycled plastic components. So there are kinds of things like that that I think an urban campus can do. What about, are there other places to plant some additional trees to increase the CO2 sequestering? Those are the kinds of things I think you can get involved in. Transportation, I'm sure many of you take buses now.
Great.
Another thing you could do is, if your campus already hasn't done it, carbon inventory your carbon footprint. And oftentimes, energy efficiencies, we've heard from the other panelists, energy efficiency improvements in buildings are great opportunities to save money, and every campus has some kind of buildings, whether you're urban or not. So
right. So the consensus I'm getting here is that a lot of the things that you've used can also be translated to urban areas, especially like sub-metering buildings and really focusing on energy for buildings. So another question that this is a great question from Tulsa, Oklahoma. To the whole panel here, what are some things that you tried that just didn't work, like burning a sofa? That's the last time I'm going to use that.
I think if we at the University of Missouri, not the university specifically, but myself, after looking around, I don't think you can approach things with a negative mindset. If your college isn't doing anything, that's not a reason to be discouraged. It's a reason to be encouraged and do more to, I guess, further the development of sustainability around the campus.
Anything else that anybody, no one wants to admit to any failures?
Well, I can give you
You have some failures? Okay, here we go.
What worked, though?
You brought in chickens instead of goats.
We'll try the chickens next, I guess. No, one of the things, the campus is new, built in since 2000, and all of our bathrooms have automatic flushing things. Okay.
Infrared, yeah.
Whatever they are, they're movement things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so most people know that. How do I say this? Before you're done, they flush 6 times. That's an awful lot of water you're wasting. So we went back and
it's fairly messy too, but
we went back and got rid of that and put push buttons, and we called it the Push to Flush campaign. And we saved hundreds of thousands of gallons of water as a result of that. And nobody is complaining.
I sure wouldn't.
So that's the thing that didn't work.
Absolutely. So one last question here is that in terms of this is to the University of Montana. How did students on your campus get involved in changing the campus transportation policy? What's the best way to work with administration? This is from Beth in Boston, Massachusetts.
Sure. I think that there's a couple ways to really go about it. I think that one of the first ones would be to really work with your administration to figure out exactly how you can advocate for transportation options, whether it be advocacy on the campus. One of the things that the University of Montana does that is incredibly successful is really being able to provide educational opportunities at orientation, to let students know what the actual cost of driving a car is versus not bringing a car to campus and instead using transportation solutions. And so I think that in terms of really getting involved, you can work with your administration, or students can take it upon themselves to do education efforts, to levy fees upon themselves, to build their vision of sustainable transportation options.
Great, 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 great. Well, thank you very much to all of our panelists. Another round of applause to every single one of you. Fantastic work. And to everybody out there who submitted questions, if we were unable to get to your question, rest assured we'll get back to you after the broadcast and we'll try to answer it as best as we can. I think that the campuses we've seen here today represent the leaders in climate work on campuses. These amazing students, faculty, and staff have shown that it's possible, not just possible, it's actually you're able to do that, to confront global warming, and that these campuses can be a model for the entire nation. These campuses combine reduce emissions by about 6,500 metric tons of CO2, and together they've saved about $5,537,000 annually. That's the equivalent of planting 4,900 trees and taking about 1,255 cars off the road for a year. We want to hear what your plans are for reducing your carbon footprint. You may have received a pledge card today, and if not, you can still go to our website, campuschillout.org, and fill out our online pledge. Tell us your plans for reducing your personal as well as your campus's carbon footprint. Next, I'm really excited. I know you are too. We are now going to show, and we're going to premiere, the 2 YouTube winners of this year's competition. These videos were selected partially by the highest number of views, votes, and ratings, and partially by a panel of NWF's judges. These entries illustrate creative approaches that can be taken to solve global warming, and we can all get out our message in a lighthearted and engaging manner. First up is Damon College in New York with The Little College That Could.
Extremely proud of the accomplishments of Damon College over the past 4 years. We received 2 awards from the National Wildlife Federation for our efforts both in recycling and also in energy efficiency here on campus. Students have been involved in several environmental audits, and we've been collecting baseline data so that we know what our carbon footprint is now, and we can make recommendations for future changes.
Damon is a small private college located in Amherst, New York, consisting of less than 2,000 undergraduate students. Recent efforts on behalf of the college include the construction of a new green building that will act as a research center for students. To maximize energy efficiency, this building will house a geothermal system. The curriculum of Damon College requires students to engage in service learning. Over the past few years, students of Damon College have committed their time encouraging environmental awareness activities on campus and within the community.
Right on Damon grounds, we have our very own Eco Trail. Damon students and faculty have been collaborating within classes in order to preserve and maintain the natural ecology found on campus. Let's go check it out.
Another part of Damon's green initiative is the green roof. The green roof has various plants that increase the ecology of the campus. Underneath the green roof is a shed that provides equipment to maintain the eco trail.
We're currently constructing our new Center for Information Research and Community Programs building here at Damon College. And this building, at bare minimum, will meet LEED Silver certification. So I think with the new construction, the recycling initiatives, the energy audits, we really have moved into a new environmental awareness here on campus, and I'm anticipating great strides in the future for Damon College.
Located on the Eco Trail, we have our very own stream. connecting the two sides of the banks, we've utilized cement that would have otherwise ended up in a landfill. Embedded right into this tree, we've built a bench where students can come and study, have lunch, just take time set aside from class to be on the eco trail and enjoy their day.
The overall objective is that the practices promoted on campus will absorb into the students' daily lives and encompass everyone whom they encounter.
Damon College shows us that not all campus greening activities happen on big campuses. And not only that, but you can actually use some Blair Witch Project type camera skills on your YouTube video. Fantastic. No, it really is great. Next is Berea College in Kentucky. You may remember Berea's campus plan video. Last year was selected as NWF's staff pick. They pulled out another great video this year and come back to win with Doing the Green Thing.
What's that? The educational TV show that's hip and cool and... Global warming is a problem we can no longer ignore. In our campus spotlight, we take a look at a college whose approach is a little green.
Berea College in Kentucky is a leader in becoming a more sustainable campus. On Berea's 9,600 acres are green spaces, forest, and a farm that are reducing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. They call it Doing the Green Thing. Let's break it down.
Wow, this is great. Berea's 8,400-acre forest provides timber and wildlife habitat. It also serves as the watershed for the community's water supply, all while taking out carbon dioxide and storing it in the plants, trees, and soil.
Well, the college forest plays a major role in the college campus efforts to be sustainable. The fact that the majority of the forests here are untouched by harvesting, that keeps the carbon in place.
Berea's educational farm produces food for the college and community and is a laboratory for sustainable agriculture.
We use cover crops, which builds the soil matter. And by building soil matter, you also are sequestering carbon. So if we implement no-till practices, we don't release it back into the air.
The Local Foods Initiative, started by students, has increased locally grown foods on campus and in the community. And that's good for the environment.
A local food system has the potential to provide a secure, diversified, healthy diet for the people in a region without putting in a whole bunch of fossil fuel or other kinds of energy inputs. If you have some stuff coming from the region and being utilized right where it's grown and processed, you cut out the middleman, the farmers do a lot better, the people eating it get to have much fresher food.
Wow, that is a lot. That is a lot of information.
I know. How can we sum it up for the viewers at home?
We buy our produce local, carbon kept under control. We're growing more dependent on resources that's expensive.
We care about our community. The government forced to fall work in unity. It's not enough to be smart. We all gotta do our part.
We're doing the green thing. Reduce carbon emissions. Doing the green thing. Saving the ozone is our mission.
We ain't playing. We sustaining. Green space in your face, carbon quick to erase.
Go forest, go farm, go garden, no harm.
The students are down and the staff is cool. Come on, you can do the green thing too.
Man, Berea College, you know how to break it down. So these 12 campuses have each won grants to advance their initiatives on campus and in the community. And as you've seen, these campuses are leaders in the field and are models for the entire nation and beyond. This past school year, students, faculty, and staff have really stepped it up on climate leadership. In November, there was PowerShift, the first national youth summit on climate change in history. It brought 6,000 students together in D.C. to work towards global warming solutions. Focus the Nation came next in January with more than 1 million students, faculty, and staff joining together for a national teach-in on climate change. and students from around the country are engaged and ready to make a difference. This clip from PowerShift reminds us all of what is at stake for our nation's young people.
They came by the thousands. Student leaders exercising their rights as Americans. National Wildlife Federation was there, joining the call for a power shift.
We will be heard because we are the ones that we have been waiting for. As the Bush administration and our federal government has done almost nothing for the last 7 years, young people have organized and made change.
We need a cultural shift in America, and we have the responsibility as well as the opportunity to make a profound change in the world at this moment.
This is our planet, this is our future, this is our children, our children's children.
They first met over the weekend at the University of Maryland. Over 6,000 college students attended seminars and workshops hosted by some of the brightest environmental leaders in the nation.
Everybody's got a new perspective. 6,500 people from around our states and from around the globe came into one place.
NWF's campus ecology team and fellows joined Alaska Youth for Environmental Action to make a statement.
The most important thing is that Alaskans need this more than anybody, and that instead of being divided urban and rural, we're one people, one state, one goal.
The nation's emerging leaders then took to the Hill, testifying before Congress about what global warming means for their generation and the next.
Just through my life, I've seen so many changes in our community.
For the survival of our people and our planet, we must put aside partisan politics and come together as humans.
They rallied, framed by the nation's capital.
The United States of America was not a democracy until those young people made it a democracy.
National Wildlife Federation is proud to be a key supporter of the largest student-led global warming action day in history, November 5th, 2007.
And forever around the world, people will remember this date, November the 5th, 2007, because the revolution starts right now. The revolution has started right now. Remember, the 5th of November. Remember, the 5th of November. Remember, the 5th of November.
Clearly, young people are engaged and they're impassioned over the issue because our future is at stake. But young people, we can't solve this problem alone. We all need to make a difference by getting involved. There are many practical actions we can all take. Please consider taking a pledge to do your part. We hope you received a pledge form, and if not, please go once again to our website at campuschillout.org and tell us what you are going to do to confront global warming. I'm going to take the pledge. Are you? I'd like to thank all the campuses that entered this competition this year, and to all of our sponsors and partners. A special thanks to the Candida Fund, climatecounts.org, and Stonyfield Farm, and our presenting partners, the National Association of Campus Activities, Earth Day Network, and the Campus Climate Challenge. You can join National Wildlife Federation's Campus Ecology Program. Check out our blog and take advantage of our many resources for colleges and universities to step up the climate action online, and go to campusecology.org. We'll begin accepting applications and submissions for next year's Chill Out competition on September 1st, 2008, with a deadline of November 30th, 2008. You can find this information and more at campuschillout.org. Here, you will also be able to get information about ordering a DVD copy of today's broadcast. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll see you again next year.